stream. Said every person who has accumulated a great fortune has recognized the existence of this stream of life. It consists of one's thinking process. You've got to ask yourself, how do you think about this? How do you think about that? If you're troubled, how are you thinking about it? If you're entertaining trouble, you're going to create more of the same. The positive emotions of thought form the side of the stream which carries one to fortune. The negative emotions form the side which carries people down to poverty. Now, he said this carries a thought of stupendous importance to the person who is following this with the object of accumulating a fortune. If you are in the side of the stream of power which leads to poverty, this may serve as an oar by which you may propel yourself over to the other side of the stream. It can serve you only through application and use. Merely reading and passing judgment on it, either one way or another, will in no way benefit you. Poverty and riches often change places. Poverty may, and generally does, voluntarily take the place of riches. When riches take the place of poverty, the change is usually brought about through well-conceived and carefully executed plans. Poverty needs no plan. It needs no one to aid it, because it is bold and ruthless. Riches are shy and timid. They have to be attracted. How do you attract them? You got to get in harmony with them. You're dealing with energy. The only energy you can attract is the energy that you're in harmonious vibration with. If you're letting your present results, which may be poverty, control your thinking, you're going to create more of the same. If you're on the side of the stream which leads to poverty, this may serve as an oar. It'll propel you to the other side of the stream. That's what Matrix is about. I want you to really think of yourself. There's something so phenomenal about you that no one can properly even describe it. You could be speaking in superlatives all day long, and you're still going to fall short in describing you, the real you. He says, poverty needs no plan. It needs no one to aid it because it is bold and ruthless. Then he points out, he says, when riches take the place of poverty, the change is usually brought about through well-conceived and carefully executed plans. Do it until you find out I'm lying or I don't know what I'm talking about. I have just learned that there's certain laws that govern this universe. What you're looking at there is not electricity. What you're looking at is an expression of electricity. If you're working with electricity, you have to work from a higher to a lower potential. If you want more light, put in a bigger bulb, get a bigger transformer. Nobody knows what electricity is. The only thing we do know is the laws by which it operates. Well, there's a power flowing to and through you, and it always works from a higher to a lower potential. And the only limit put on the power is the limit that's placed on the form through which it's flowing. This is the form through which it's flowing. It's the thoughts that you think that limit it. It's the thoughts that you think that open it up and let it flow. You want to become a magnificent conduit for that power to flow through, and you can achieve anything you want. Your results are an expression of your level of awareness. Always has been, it always will be. Your awareness is blocked by layers of virus, just bad ideas. Let this little dot in the center of the screen represent your level of awareness. That represents your level of awareness. Now, I want you to think, really think, of how your life would change if your awareness just expanded by that much. Just that much. You eliminate darkness when you turn on the light. A person doesn't earn 100 a year because they want 100 a year. They're earning 100 a year because they're not aware of how to earn 100 a month.
Sheesh.
The only thing that separates you from the good you desire is awareness. Solomon said, no, get understanding. There's only one way to develop understanding, just one way, and that's through study. There isn't any other way. Now, there's many forms of study, but you've got to study. I found if I just keep studying me, I'll understand you. If I keep studying me, I'm going to start getting the results I want to get because I'm the only one that can do it for me. Let there be a higher degree. How do I expand my level of awareness? You expand your level of awareness through effective education, combined with professional coaching over a reasonable period of time. You'll eliminate the virus and expand your level of awareness. And when you do that, it starts to reflect in your results. You got to open yourself up to it. And when you open yourself up to it, you'll get it. You want to learn to willingly give and graciously receive. We've often say it's a sad thing when you see a child afraid of the dark. I'll tell you something a lot sadder is when you see an adult that's afraid of the light.
Sheesh.
There's people, their mind is so closed that they just can't hear you. Now that's too bad. Everything you're seeking is seeking you. Do you know that all religion, I don't care what religion you are, all religion and all science clearly indicate that nothing is either created or destroyed. Everything that you've ever wanted is already here. Everything is made from the same form of substance. And we have the creative ability to take that and move it into whatever form we want.
All right, guys, let's get started with today's session. Grand Rising, Grand Rising. Happy Wednesday. We like to call it Wednesday on my team. Very excited, very blessed to be here with every single one of you. I hope everybody is having a phenomenal start to their days. I'm feeling really good, feel really blessed. Got up this morning, went to the gym, got in the sauna, walked the dogs, got a chance to do a little bit of my routine. So I'm feeling really blessed right now. It always feels good to jump on Mornings with Nano after you have finished a lot of that routine. So I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be back. What's that audio? You can't even find this audio. It's an exclusive audio, unfortunately. You're going to have to just listen to it as I think, because it was an exclusive audio that I was given access to and told that I cannot send to absolutely nobody, unfortunately. I wish I could send it to you, bro, but I gave somebody my word that I wouldn't send it, so it's one of those things. I kind of just can play a little bit of it, but it's actually like a 3-hour audio, and this audio was it's a 3-hour audio, and this is for 7-figure earners. So what you're listening to is, mentorship from Bob to his 6- and 7-figure earners, which is so powerful, right? He's teaching people how to go from earning 100 a year to earning 100 a month, right? And it's just one of those audios. And if you hear the messages, they're so powerful, right? Where he says, the only thing stopping you from there is your awareness, right? The awareness of the information, the awareness of the habits, the awareness of it all. So great information. But there's a lot of good stuff on Bob on YouTube that you guys can listen to as well. But the paid mentorship is the elevated stuff for sure. But I'm excited to be back, guys. If you're here for the first time, my name is Nano. I am your host for Mornings with Nano Masterminds here on YouTube and Instagram. We do these calls Monday through Friday. Stay up to date with everything that I do on Instagram. I actually have a mentorship chat that you guys can join on my Instagram in my bio. There's also a Telegram chat. I also keep everybody updated here through YouTube as well. But I'm excited, and I'm really looking forward to the next couple of weeks, heading into the month of November. It's like I said yesterday, it's actually crazy that it is already October 29th, and we're heading into a new month already. But I'm excited to just put ourselves in a great position to win, to elevate, and to become better versions of ourselves. So today I wanted to talk about a familiar topic that some of you guys may have heard in the past, but I wanted to, talk about it in different terms and break it down in different areas, right? Because what I realize is that if you can understand the phase that you're in, you'll be able to show up a lot better. This was something that helped me out a lot when I understood the phase that I was in my journey. And every single one of us on this call, we're in specific phases in our journey. And here's the reality of the situation: you can always go back to a phase that you were in because you slacked off, right? So I'll give you guys an example, and I'm gonna jump right into this, right? So today's training is called the phases of growth. All right, today's training is titled the phases of growth. And the phases of growth are very powerful. And if you can understand this, you can take action a lot better towards where it is that you're gonna go, right? There's 6 phases to growth, 6. And I'm gonna cover those on this call today. The first phase to growth is the rejection phase. The rejection phase. Whenever you make a decision to start to do something new, you're going to deal with rejection. Now, the reason why that happens is on a mental level, on a psychological level, is because you're stepping out of your comfort zone. You're stepping out of your comfort zone. For example, let's say you're somebody who's not a morning person. Anybody here not a morning person, right? Some of us, we've said that in the past. I wasn't a morning person. I love my sleep, all right? And I used to be somebody that was very, very hard to wake up. So when I made the decision to start doing something new, like waking up early, right? Now I'm going to start the first phase of growth, which is that rejection phase. And what happens is that when you make the decision, yeah, I feel you say I am a morning person. That we gotta affirm that. But what happens is when you make a decision to start something new, you're gonna deal with rejection. Rejection psychologically because it's uncomfortable. Wait, Nano, why are you gonna wake up early? We love sleep. You know that we like to stay in bed. Why would you want to wake up 2 hours earlier? That sucks. You're going to be tired. You're going to be exhausted, right? You start to deal with rejection. All right, mentally, psychologically, emotionally, you start to deal with a lot of rejection. Does anybody understand what I'm saying? Put a 1 in the chat box if this is making sense so far, right? You deal with rejection immediately. That's called the rejection phase. The rejection phase is, hey, I want to start something new, but I still kind of want to be comfortable. I still want to stay in bed. I still want to do this. Exactly, right? We all know what I'm saying, right? Same thing is with the gym. The gym is the same thing. All right. The gym, you go through the same. Let's say today you make the decision, I want to start going to the gym. You're going to deal with some rejection because you haven't been going to the gym, but now you want to start going to the gym. So there's going to be some rejection there. It's for the person that's never read the Bible and has never gotten into reading the Bible. And you want to start reading it, but it's not something that you're comfortable with. You're going to deal with some rejection in the meantime, right? Now, the rejection phase is a very powerful phase. It's a very powerful phase because the rejection phase is either going to make you or it's going to break you. I want you guys to write that down. The rejection phase will either make you or it will break you. And this goes for all areas of our lives. It goes for all areas of our lives. This also goes for the area of our lives, especially for my people in business. Think about it. Sales, sometimes when you start something new, what happens? Right? When you start something new, a lot of the times the first people that you talk to, what do they say to you? No. Are you making any money? I want to see if it works for you first. So you'll get a lot of rejection in the beginning from people as well. So this happens to everybody. It happens to everybody, but that's just part of the energetic idea behind starting something new, because you're going from doing something that was once comfortable for you, all right, to now doing something uncomfortable. And when you go through that phase of being comfortable to uncomfortable, that process in between is a lot of rejection, is a lot of doubt, is a lot of fear, is a lot of what if, should I? Oh man, I want to go back to being comfortable. I want to go back to staying in bed. I want to go back to not going to the gym. I want to go back to the job that I was in. I've seen it firsthand with myself. I've experienced it in a lot of areas in my life, many areas in my life. Many areas in my life, whenever I started something new, I dealt with rejection. There was never a time that I didn't deal with it. Every time I started something new or I made a decision, the first phase was always the rejection phase. When I started getting in the gym, I had dealt with rejection. When I started to wake up early, I dealt with rejection. When I started my new business, I dealt with rejection. When I wanted to get into a relationship, I dealt with rejection. Everything starts in that rejection phase. But I want you to write this down. Rejection is redirection. Rejection is redirection. It's important. You need the rejection. Remember what I just said. It's either going to make you or it's going to break you. But here's the thing about the rejection phase. More than 90% of people quit in the rejection phase. They go back to their old ways. Why you think have you guys heard the statistic about the New Year's resolutions that at the beginning of the year everybody makes these New Year's resolutions and by week 3, week 4, most people have already fell back into their old ways? Why you think that is? It's because of the rejection phase. It's because of the rejection phase, right? I would actually like to ask ChatGPT that. Let me see if it actually has an answer for me real quick. What percentage, I'm trying to think of what's the right question to ask. What percentage of people who set New Year's resolutions fall back to their old ways, and how fast does it happen? Let me see if ChatGPT has an answer for me. So listen to this, right? So New Year's resolutions. Yeah, no. So one site here says, let me give you guys right here. For people who set New Year's resolutions, it reports that 23% of people give up their resolutions within the first week. Within the first week, 23%. So that means out of 100 people, within the first week, 23 people have already given it up. Listen to the numbers. It gets even scarier. He says, by the end of January, within the first month of January, 43% of people have already abandoned them. Another survey found that 50% of those who set resolutions had given them up by February. Oh my God. This is insane. Another one says that by March, 70% of people have already given up the resolutions that they started in January. It's a lot of people. Think about that, guys. That's a lot of people. That's more than half of people that they start a resolution. They make a decision. Yo, this year I'm going to do this. Think about it. That's what this whole training is about. They make a decision that they want to grow. They make a decision that they want to make a change. They make a decision of something. And because that rejection phase is so powerful, they end up going back to their old ways. Has that ever happened to anybody on this call? Let's all be real on this call. Put a 2 in the chat box if you've done your best to start something new and then you end up falling back into your old ways. Dude, I could put a 2 in the chat for that myself. I've done it many times, more times than I can count. As a matter of fact, I'm over here looking up New Year's resolutions like if I haven't been the person who's done it myself. You don't think I've set New Year's resolutions that I also fell back on as well? Of course I have. But I've gotten a lot better at it as well. More times that I can count. Yes, for sure. But here's the thing, is because that rejection phase is so powerful. That rejection phase is big. In my business, I experience it even more. Let me tell you why I experience it in my business even more. Because with my business, obviously, I run a digital business. For those that know me, you guys know I run a digital business outside of like my personal brand with Nano, Mornings with Nano. As you guys can see, I also have merch, etc., retreats, speaking engagements, coaching, all of that. Outside of my own personal brand, I have a digital business that goes by the name of Alpha Society. And in this digital business, I deal with a lot of different people. I deal with people who are students, moms, dads, employees, etc. And sometimes when I deal with people who are employees that have been working for 10, 15 years, let's say someone who's already who's in their 30s, 35s, mid low to mid 30s, right? They've been working for 10 to 15 years. So all they know is the system. I come and I introduce them to my business. All they've known is their whole life is, hey, go to school, get a degree, work a job, work 8 hours a week. I mean, 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, and you get paid at the end of the week or bi-weekly. And then the thing is with my business is this is a skill-based business. So you got to learn the skill and then you get paid. So what happens is when they join the business, they immediately deal with rejection. Immediately. Because sometimes in my business, it may take you 30 days to get paid. It may take you 60. Some people, it may take you 90 days to get paid because you're learning the skill first and then you get paid. So when somebody joins, what ends up happening is because they're experiencing rejection, because it's going against what they usually know, they end up quitting within their first 30 to 60 days. The average shelf life for a customer in my industry is 30 to 60 days. The average shelf life, which means someone who joins my business model is only in my business, all right, for 30 to 60 days. And the reason for it is because of the rejection phase, because they're doing something that's out of their comfort zone. They went from doing a physical job where they physically were doing things and they were getting paid weekly and bi-weekly to now doing a digital business that they are not familiar with, that requires them to do study and to be in charge of their own schedule, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they're like, nah, I'd rather go back to my old ways. I'd rather go back to a schedule. I'd rather go back to what I know, what I'm familiar with. Here, my pay is guaranteed. Here, I have a schedule. Here, I know the people. Here, everything is physical. Here, nothing is digital. And eventually, what ends up happening is they end up quitting. Only the special ones that are able to stay through it are able to see the results and the value later. But I've seen this 6 phases of growth impact so many people. All right. I've seen it literally impact so many people because so many people don't give themselves the time to grow. They don't give themselves the time to grow. And because the rejection phase is such a difficult phase for so many people, some people just be like, yo, you know what? I don't want to get through this. I don't even want to go through this anymore. Like, I'd rather just go back to waking up when I was waking up. Like, I don't want to have to be tired in the morning, right? I don't want to have to be sore every day. So I'd rather just go back to not working out, right? I love my job. I'm making certain amount of money. I'd rather do this than work this business that's currently not paying me. It's easy to go back to your old ways because that's what you're comfortable in. And guess what? Psychologically, consciously, and subconsciously, you want to go back to that. And this is, like I said, guys, this is on all levels: business, finances, personal life, relationship, in all areas. This happens to all of us. Now, I see somebody ask in the chat box, Johnny said, how can I get through the rejection phase? There's only one way to get through the rejection phase, and you got to push through. You got to push through, bro. Johnny, that's really the only way. You got to you got to stick to your word, stick to what you said you were going to do. You got to be disciplined. That's the word right there. You got to stay disciplined until you hit the second phase of growth, which is called the progress phase. You see, when you make a decision to do something new, in the beginning, it's going to be a lot of rejection. the first days are going to be tough, right? If anybody knows, if you've ever gone from, waking up at a certain time to waking up early, those first couple of days is a fight. If you're somebody that wakes up at 8, 9 a.m., and then from one day to another, you say, yo, you know what? I'm doing. Sorry, I don't know what's going on here.
Attention, your attention, please. The fire alarm in the building has been activated. Cease operations immediately. Proceed to the nearest exit and leave the building. Do not use the elevator.
I don't know if this is real. Let me make sure. I don't think it's real. Take us with you. Take your phone and go. Hold up. Let me love your guidance. Thank you. What a time for a fire alarm. No, for real. I think it's good. It's good. We should be fine. They usually do this every once in a while. All right, so let's continue here. Get out of there. No, we're good. I promise we're good. I know we're good. There's nobody outside. That means they probably send a text that they're going to be testing out their fire alarms. And I just didn't see it because I'm live right now. But they usually send a text to everybody saying that they're going to test out the fire alarms. I went outside and there's nothing there. So we're good. So let's continue here. So the rejection phase is a beautiful phase, right? But then what happens is, in order for you to make it through the rejection phase, you have to stay consistent and disciplined to then reach the next phase, which is the progress phase. The progress phase is the phase that you made it through. You woke up early, good amount of time. Now you're making progress. For a whole week, you did it. 2 weeks, you did it. You're making progress. You woke up early on time. You went to the gym 5 days a week. You read that book. You went to that gym, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The progress phase is a really, really good place to be. This is where you want to be. Once you make it through the rejection phase is the hardest part. That's why I said 90% of people quit in the rejection phase, because the rejection phase is a hard place to be. Think about it, guys. Nobody likes to be rejected. Nobody. You ever tried talking to somebody and they told you no? For my boys, my boys understand how it feels. Like, you ever try talking to a girl you like and she just ignores you? And I'm sure it happens to girls as well. You ever try talking to a guy and he doesn't like you or whatever it is? Like, nobody likes rejection. Nobody likes rejection, especially my people in sales. You ever try selling somebody on your product or service and they're like, no, not interested, don't have the money, don't have the time, etc. Rejection sucks. Nobody likes rejection. So when you get through that rejection phase and you learn how to deal with the rejection and you learn how to embrace rejection, then you'll reach the next phase, which is the progress phase. Now you're making progress. You've been going to the gym, you start to see progress. The tummy starts going down, the booty starts pumping up a little bit, right? The six-pack starts coming around, the muscles start showing. Now it's easier for you to wake up earlier, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? You're making progress. The progress phase is a beautiful place to be. And we all know how that feels like, because all of us in our lives, we've been in times, whether it was in our early years, whether it was in sports, whether it was in the gym, in a relationship, etc., where we dealt with rejection at the beginning of it, but then we started making progress. All right. The progress phase is a beautiful place to be, because now things are moving in your direction. All right. I remember when I started my business and I was sharing with people, what I was doing. I was getting just rejection after rejection after rejection after rejection. But as I started to do it more, and as I started to get better at my business, naturally, you know what started to happen? I started to make progress. Now, back then, when I would talk to 10 people, I would get 10 no's. Imagine talking to 10 people about your business and all 10 people tell you no. But now I'm talking to 10 people and at least 2 are joining my business. I'm making progress. I'm talking to 10 people, 3 people are joining my business. I'm making progress. All right. I went from not going to the gym to now going to the gym three days a week. I'm making progress. I went from waking up at 9 a.m. to now waking up at 7 a.m. consistently. I'm making progress. All right. In every area of your life, you can find ways to make progress. You went from not saving no money every month to now saving an extra $200 a month. You're making progress. Everything in life is about these phases. And if you can understand what phase you're in, you can take proper action towards getting to the next phase. Some of you guys right now, you're in your rejection phase. You're in your rejection phase right now. You're doing your best to start something new, but you're dealing with so much rejection. Some of you guys right now, you're probably in your progress phase where you were able to get through the rejection phase and now you're making progress. You made progress in the gym. You made progress in your business. You made progress in different areas of your life. This is important. I'm making progress in a lot of areas in my life as well. But there's also other areas in my life where I'm dealing with rejection. That's the reality of the situation. All right. I remember when I first decided to do merch for the Nano Originals brand. I dealt with rejection at the beginning of it. And then guess what? I was able to get through it because I kept fighting it. The key to get through the rejection phase is you just got to keep fighting it. You got to keep fighting it every single day, every single day, every single day. And then till then, you make progress. This is so important, so key. Everything can change for you guys if you stay consistent with what you said you were going to do. That's why they say that discipline is the ability to do what you said you were going to do long after the motivation fades. That's what discipline is. The ability to do what you said you were going to do long after the feeling fades. Imagine that. That's so powerful right there. You said you were going to wake up early. You do it every day, even on the days that you don't feel like it. You said you were going to go to the gym. You said you were going to save that money. You said this, that. We got to stay consistent with it. Because then guess what? If you stay consistent in that progress phase, what happens now? You go to the third phase of growth, which is the phase that we're all looking for, the results phase. Yes, being impeccable with your word. Now you hit the results phase. Now you're getting the results. Now your body's looking better. Now waking up early is nothing to you. You love it. It's easy. All those morning routines are now paying off. All those months that you spent budgeting your money is paying off. All those conversations and all those people that you spoke to about your business that told you no before, now everybody is saying yes. Now you're making money. Now you've hit the results phase. Most people don't even get to the results phase, unfortunately. As a matter of fact, if people would stay long enough, they would see the results, but most people don't stay long enough to see the results, which is in reality what people come in searching for. If it was up to us, we would show up to the gym and in one day we would have our dream body. How nice would that be if you could just be like, hey, I go to the gym today, I have my dream body. How nice would that be? That right away you can step into the results phase. But that's not how it works, guys. We don't plant the seed today and eat the fruit tomorrow, right? That's not how it works. Nothing in life works like that. The things that take the most time are the things that are worth the most. So we have to understand the process of just life in general, right? Even plants, think about it. When you plant a seed, well, the rejection phase for the seed is breaking through the soil, building up the roots. That's the rejection phase for it, which you can't see. And then guess what? It starts making progress. It starts making progress up. And then it hits the results phase. What's the results phase? When now you can start seeing it sprouting. Guys, this is the process in everything in life. If you actually sit down and think about it. This is how it is. If you start to think about all areas of your life, you'll start to realize that in all areas of your life, there's phases of growth that you can apply to it. A lot of us right now, majority of us are in one of these 3 phases right now. We are either dealing with a lot of rejection, we are in our progress phase, or we are in the results phase. That's the reality of the situation. Because the results phase is where we all want to get to eventually, where we're getting the results. We're feeling good about ourselves. Man, I'm making the money. I'm making the sales. I'm feeling good about myself. I'm growing the muscles. I'm getting stronger. My 6-pack is coming in. I'm being a better mother. I'm being a better father, a better husband, a better wife. I'm being a better leader. I'm getting the results now. All of us strive for the results. The reason why a lot of us are on this call right now is because you want to get results in your life. But you know what you got to do before the results? You got to deal with rejection and you got to deal with progress. And the thing with that is that we don't have a timeline for that. Everybody's timeline is different. Some people get results faster than others. Some people take longer than others. Some people are going to get results in their first month. Some people it's going to take them 90 days to get results. Some people it's going to take them 6 months to get results. Everyone's timeline is different. And you know why that is because we're all different. None of us are the same. That's the thing. We are all different. None of us are the same. So everybody's process is going to be different. So that's why they say don't compare yourself. Don't compare yourself. Comparison is the thief of all joy. If you're comparing yourself that this person got results before you did, then you're going to start to rob yourself of all joy. Let your process be different than everybody else's. For example, people get mad at me, believe it or not, because they're like, Nano, you eat all the food in the world and you don't gain weight. People tell me that all the time. They're like, Nano, I don't understand, bro. You eat whatever you want, but you don't gain weight. You have the same body. You still got your 6-pack. You still look good, bro. How is that possible? I don't know. That's how my body is. Like, we can't compare. I have friends of mine, they start eating a couple food and then right away they have the belly. Me, I can eat whatever I want and I still have the flat belly. Like, I don't know. I can't tell you. We're all different. All right. Sometimes I get results faster than others because another thing is I learn faster. I understand things faster. I'm way more coachable than there's just certain things that because of the way that I was brought up, because of my DNA structure, whatever it is, that I'm able to do things faster than others. But guess what? There's people that do it faster than me. There's people that have better genetics than I do. There's people that understand things better than I do. There's certain things in life, believe it or not, that I'm slow in. I'm super slow in certain things that I'm like, okay, I need to slow down and get this, Yeah, we built that metabolism through sports, probably, honestly. But there's certain things that it takes me a lot of time to understand. There's other things that I'm really good at. All right, I can, like me, for example, I could learn a sport very fast, but it comes from my natural ability to be an athlete. Right? I picked up a snowboard and I knew how to snowboard within a couple tries. Like I just have this natural ability in other areas, but there's other areas that I'm not that good in. That my phases to growth is a lot slower, and I deal with a lot of rejection. A lot of rejection. So it's very, very important that you guys understand that. There's going to be a rejection phase, there's going to be a progress phase, and there's going to be a results phase. Those are the standard 3 phases of growth in the beginning. You need to identify where you're at. Let me see. If you find yourself feeling jealous, your brain telling you your deepest desire. Yep. Facts, Jessa. I agree. I agree 100%. So, guys, we got to keep that in mind. Where are you in your process, right? I saw my brother Jay Miles, someone who's been a mentor and a mentee of mine for years, told me, it took him 3 years to become a profitable trader. Look at that, 3 years to get results. 3 years to get results. I was there during his rejection phase. I was also there during his progress phase where he was making progress. But now he comes on this call and he tells me, yo, Nano, it's been 3 years and now I'm a profitable trader. It took him 3 years to hit the results phase. But you know what the funny thing about it is, and Jay Miles will tell you, he knows people that were in the results phase 6 months, a year in. There was people that Jay Miles and myself, we both know that they got results within their first 6 months to a year. And they were profitable traders in their first 6 months to a year. But look, it took Jay Miles 3 years. Everybody's journey is different, but the destination is the same. Understand that. Everybody's journey is different, but the destination is the same. It says it in the Bible. The first will be last and the last will be first. If you guys understand the logic behind that message that the last will be first and the first will be last, if you understand it, it doesn't matter who gets there first. At the end of the day, the destination is the same. Some will get there first, some will get there last. At the end of the day, the destination is the same. So those are the first 3 phases. Put a 3 in the chat box if this is making sense so far when it comes to the phases of growth, right? When it comes to the phases of growth, if this is making sense so far, put a 3, because those are just the first 3 phases. Those are the basic phases that most people right now in our lives are experiencing. And these are the phases that you want to learn and understand. All right. I'm in the results phase in certain areas in my life. I'm in the progress phase in certain areas in my life. I'm in the rejection phase in certain areas in my life. I'm also in the next phase, which is the 4th phase, the leadership phase. The leadership phase is now where you're teaching others how to do what you're good at. All right. I'm in the leadership phase. Mornings with Nano is the leadership phase for me. This call that I'm doing, this is a leadership phase for me. Why? Because I'm teaching you guys the things that got me results, right? Remember, you can only teach something that has gotten you results. So that's why the leadership phase goes after the results phase. Because once you've gotten the results and you've proven you can get the results, now it's time for the next phase, which is teach others how to get the results. A lot of people ask me, how did you get the results? How did you build a global brand? How did you become a public speaker? How did you learn how to trade, invest, do all these things? Now it's time for me to teach. Because remember, in life, it's not about what you can do. It's about what you can teach. It's about what you can teach. That's what it's all about. LART. I love that. We taught that training the other day here on Mornings with Nano. LART. LART. It's called the circle of learning. You learn, you apply, you get the results, and then you teach. You teach. Some of us, we are in our leadership phase. My parents, any parents on the call, you're in your leadership phase because you're teaching your kids how to live the life that you've already experienced for the last 20, 30, 40 years. All right. We are all in different areas of our lives, right? My good sister, Femi, she just had a new baby. She's in her leadership phase with that baby. What is she going to be doing? She's going to be teaching that baby the life that she's already lived for about 20, 30 years. She's going to do her best to teach her the best way possible. That's the phase that she's in. But guess what? In other areas of her life, she's in the rejection phase. In other areas of her life, she's in the progress phase. We are all in different areas of our lives, but we got to embrace them depending on where we are. We got to embrace them as much as we can is the reality of it. I love the leadership phase. Because now I get a chance to mentor people on the things that have worked for me in the past. People ask me all the time, Nano, can you teach me how to become a public speaker? That's me stepping into my leadership phase. because I've gotten results. I've spoken in front of, thousands of people, traveled to over 20 plus countries, speaking on stages. Now, because I've gotten results, now is my opportunity to teach. Can you teach me how to build a crypto portfolio? Yes. Let me show you. Can you this? Yes, 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 yes. I get paid to mentor people. Why? Because I've gotten the results. I got the results. So when you get the results, you step into that leadership phase, because now it's time for you to duplicate yourself into other people. And that's the beauty of this business. That's the beauty of the phases of growth. You eventually want to get to the leadership phase. And then here's what happens. When you teach enough people how to get results, and you do that long enough and you create enough success stories, then what ends up happening is you hit the fifth level. You hit the fifth phase of growth, which is the expert phase. You're an expert at what you do now. You're really good at creating other success stories. You're so good at what you do that now you are an expert at helping others create the same amount of success. The expert phase is the phase that we all want to get to. You're an expert at what you do. You're an expert at your business. You're an expert at finances. You're an expert at trading, at crypto, at personal development, at whatever it is. You're an expert at it now. Think about it. Most people, think about this real quick. Think about a trainer, a gym trainer. A gym trainer, by the time, if you look at the viral and popular gym trainers out there, they've become experts at what they did. But why did they become experts? They all started where? In the rejection phase. At one point in their life, they were probably out of shape. They weren't consistent with the gym. They were dealing with what? Number one, the rejection phase. Then what happened? They started going consistently. One day they woke up, they made a decision. From this day moving forward, I'm going to start going to the gym every day. They went through it, boom, boom, boom. They stayed consistent. Then they started making progress. After they started making progress, then they got results. Because they were getting results and they saw their body change and now they're looking good. Guess what ends up happening? Now other people are reaching out to them. Hey, can you teach me how you got results? Now they're in their leadership phase. Then eventually, because they were in their leadership phase long enough and they created so many success stories for, months and years to come, now they're considered experts in their field because they've created so much results. Guys, this happens in everything in our lives. If you look around to the people that we follow and the individuals that we see on Instagram, every single one of them went through the phases that I'm talking to you guys about right now. Every single one. Every single one has gone through these phases because they're experts now. But guess what? They went through the first four phases, which is rejection, progress, results, leadership. Now they're experts. They're experts now. I wouldn't even still consider myself an expert. I still believe that I'm still in this leadership phase where I have to create more success stories. I'm not even in the expert phase yet. I wouldn't consider myself an expert in no areas in my life. Maybe baseball, and that's it. But I played baseball for 15 years. All right. But outside of that, I can't really consider myself an expert in anything. Right now, for example, in golf, I'm in the progress phase. I dealt with the rejection phase in golf. The rejection phase in golf sucks. As a matter of fact, sometimes I feel like I'm still there sometimes because golf is a very humbling sport. I'll tell you that right now. It's a humbling sport. But as you guys see me going more and more and more to the top golf and playing golf with my mentors, etc., when I started, I was in the rejection phase. I sucked. I was so bad. But right now, I'm in the progress phase. I'm learning. And here and there, I'll get some results, but it's not consistent enough. I'm in my progress phase in golf. I'm in results phase in other areas. right? Right now, and for my retreat, I'm in the results phase for my retreat. We sold it out. The retreat is 2 weeks away. I'm in the results phase with my retreat. There's other areas where I'm still working on it. I mean, in the gym, I would consider myself progress phase too, still. I'm not exactly where I need to be in the gym. Waking up early, I'm in the progress phase as well. There was times in my life where I was really, really good at waking up early. Then that's the thing about this. You can always go back. In areas in your life, you can always go back. There was times in my life where I was really good at waking up early. Now, because I've been inconsistent and certain days and the tours and everything, I've gone back to now making progress. I made progress today. I woke up earlier. Tomorrow I'm gonna make more progress. Eventually, I'm gonna get so good at it again that it'll get to the results. I know what phase I'm in every area of my life. That's the thing. I am very consciously aware of what area and what phase I'm in all areas of my life. This is important that you guys understand that, because the goal is eventually to become an expert. Because if you become an expert, then eventually you stay at the expert level long enough, and then you hit the final phase, which is something that usually takes 10 plus years to hit, but I'll still mention it, which is called the legend phase. That's all it is. The legend phase is the final phase to growth. You're a legend at what you do. You're the absolute best at what you do. There's nobody better. You're number one at what you do. You're the number one leader. You're the number one consultant. You're the number one speaker. You're the best. You're a legend. You've done it for so many years that you're considered a legend. Think Tom Brady. Think Michael Jordan, Derek Jeter. Think the best. Think LeBron James, Stephen Curry. Think people like that. Tiger Woods, Tony Robbins. Think the best in the world. Drake is in his legend phase, best in the world at what they do. Kobe Bryant, exactly. Bob Proctor, legend. Those are people but that takes time. That takes 10, 15, 20 plus years of expertise. Remember, to become an expert at anything, how many hours does it take to become an expert at anything? Does anybody know the amount of hours that it takes to be an expert at anything? Does anybody know? What does it take to be an expert at anything? 10,000 hours. 10K. Just think about that. 10,000 hours to be an expert at anything. It's a lot of hours. You guys ever done the math of how long it'll take you to accomplish 10,000 hours at anything that you do? It's pretty insane when you think about it. Let me see something right here. I think it's like 7 years at 3 hours a day. Let's see. If you do 3 hours a day times 7, that's 21 hours a week, times 4 is 84 hours a month, times 12 is 1,000 hours a year. And that's if you're doing 3 hours a day to something. That means it'll take you about 10 years to be an expert at anything, dedicating 3 hours a day. That's if you do 3 hours a day. Just think about that. To be an expert at something. Obviously, if you dedicate more time, if you're dedicating 8 hours a day, then, it's a lot easier, but it takes time. To be a legend, because remember, once you become an expert, then you got to stay an expert for a period of time to then be considered a legend. People have called me a legend, but I'm like, I'm so far from a legend. So far from a legend. I'm in my leadership phase still. I'm still in my leadership phase when it comes to speaking, personal development, leadership, etc. I still have a long way to go to even get to my expert phase. But I'm working on it. I'm developing leaders. I'm developing people. I'm building businesses, etc. And I'm not in a rush. I'm still I'm 31 years young. I'm still early. I'll be in my legend phase probably in my 50s. But I'm okay with that. I've embraced the journey. I'm okay with that. If it takes me another 20 years to get to my legend phase, great. I've embraced my journey. I understand what I signed up for. I'm not here to rush the process. I'm here to trust the process and enjoy it in the meantime. But those right there are the 6 phases of growth: rejection, progress, results, leadership, expert, legend. That's the name of the game. Right now, for example, in terms of writing my book, I'm in the rejection phase with writing my book. When it comes to writing my book, I'm dealing with the rejection phase right now. I haven't even made progress with writing my book. I'm in the rejection phase, figuring out, how do I start? Where do I do this? How many pages should I write? How should I start my book? How many hours? Like, nah, Nano, just do it another day. Wait till next year. I'm in the rejection phase when it comes to writing my book. I'm telling you, like, there's areas in my life where I'm not there yet. When it comes to building my relationship with God, I'm in my progress phase with that. I'm making progress. I'm not going to tell you guys I'm an expert at the Bible or expert at my relationship. No, I'm in my progress phase. I'm making progress. And I've gotten results as well from building my relationship with him as well. But I would say more, I'm in my progress phase in that area. Understand where you are in the areas of your life. And then the understanding of it is so good. You know why? Because now you understand where you are, but you also know what's next. You see, with my book, as an example, because I'm in the rejection phase with my book, I know I just got to get through this phase, because eventually I'm going to get through the phase of rejection with my book. And then guess what's going to happen? I'm going to hit my progress phase. And I'm going to start writing it. And I'm going to have a couple chapters locked in. And eventually, my book is going to release. That's going to be the results phase. And I'm going to get the results, and the book is going to sell out, and I'm going to have it on Amazon, and I'm going to go on a book tour, and etc. and this and that. And then eventually, you know what's going to happen? People are going to tell me, Nano, can you teach me how to write a book? And then I'm going to hit my leadership phase. Guys, do you guys see how this works? Like, this is how it works for everything. These are the phases of growth. Then eventually I'll have enough books written, and I've helped enough people write their books, that eventually I'll become an expert at it. And then one day in the future, I'll be considered a legend for all the great books that I wrote. That's how this works, guys. If you can understand these phases, it'll change your life. Believe it or not, guys, I didn't need notes for today's training. I needed no notes for today's training. Why? Because I've mastered these phases. I understand these phases on a deeper level. All right. So the phases, one more time so we can wrap it up. Number 1 is, as a matter of fact, let me test you guys. What's the first phase? Type it in the chat box, everybody. Everybody in the chat, all together. First phase of growth. What is it? Let me see who my note takers were. First phase was the rejection phase. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. What was the second phase of growth? Let me see who my note takers are. I'm paying attention. What was the second phase of growth? The progress phase. Exactly. Progress phase. What was the third phase of growth? After progress comes the results phase. Absolutely. Right? Once you get results, what's your job to do in the fourth phase? What do you do in the fourth phase now? What's the fourth phase of growth? The leadership phase. Right? You hit the leadership phase. Then you stay at the leadership phase long enough, and then you go to the fifth phase, which is what? The expert phase. All right? And eventually you stay an expert long enough, and then you hit the sixth phase, which is what? And we've talked about this, the legend phase. Always remember those phases, guys. Most of us right now, we are in between phases 1 through 4. Most of us. These are the phases that majority of people live in. Not many people eventually hit the expert and legend phase. That's for a very exclusive group of people. Most people stay in between phases 1 through 4. But at least now you guys know what the phases of growth are. All right, guys. So with that being said, everybody put a 777 in the chat box if you guys got value from today's training. Thank you guys all so very much for jumping on today's call. I'll be back tomorrow for another great episode of of Mornings with Nano, YouTube edition and Instagram edition. I pray that you guys got a lot of value from today's training, and that you guys keep growing. I see my brother Brito in here. Appreciate you hopping on, my G. And let's keep growing. Let's keep elevating. Let's keep becoming better versions of ourselves. Let's understand where we are in terms of what areas we are in, and let's continue to grow. Let's continue to elevate. I'm very proud of all of us, and embrace whatever area you're in. Some of you guys are going to be in your rejection phase. Don't feel bad, because look, even Nano's in the rejection phase in certain areas in his life. But just understand where you are and understand what you got to do to keep going forward. In reality, the key to getting through all the phases is one word: discipline. That's the key to getting through every phase, is discipline. If you can stay disciplined, you'll get through every phase like nothing. But you got to stay disciplined for 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years to hit legend phase. That's the name of the game. All right, guys. So quick prayer today. I'm going to just give God his thank you, and then we'll end the call right there with some gratitude. All right, guys. So everybody bow your head and let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we want to thank you so much for waking us up on this beautiful Wednesday morning. Today, we learned a very valuable lesson about the phases of growth that we are going to experience throughout this journey called life. And today, we just want to say thank you for it all. We want to thank you for the rejection. We want to thank you for the progress. We want to thank you for the results. We want to thank you for the amazing community that you've cultivated here and you've created. We want to thank you for holding our hand through this process. We want to thank you for the lessons, the challenges. We want to thank you for always being there for us through the good times, and even being there closer to us during the bad times. We know that everything in life is happening for us, and that everything is happening to make us better and help us grow in the kingdom, God. So we just want to say thank you today, God, for it all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Our hearts are full of gratitude, and on behalf of the whole community, we all just want to say thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We know that you're working overtime for us, and none of it goes unnoticed, God. Today, we don't want to ask for anything. Today, the only words we want to say is thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's go out there and have a productive day. We love you. We appreciate you. Everything that we do is for your praise and for your glory. And in God's name we pray. Amen, amen, amen. All right, guys. With that being said, that wraps up today's call. I pray you guys have a beautiful day. Let's go out there and understand our phases of growth. And I'll see you guys back here again tomorrow for another episode of Mornings with Nano. God bless you guys. Let's have a productive day. See you guys again. Thank you, fam. God bless y'all.